So yes, I got a haircut. Long overdue. Just because I'd been lazy and not getting around to getting a haircut. So anyways, good morning. Today is technically June 29th. But last night, as you saw, I started this vlog. So Stuff Your Kindle Day is technically tomorrow, but they've already posted the list and a lot of the titles were already free. So I opted to go ahead and start this vlog collab that I'm doing with a bunch of my friends. We all decided to get a bunch of them and then like see how many we could read in however much amount of time people decide to take. I'm gonna take a week. So technically I started things on Wednesday the 28th and I will go until the following Wednesday. So I did start my first read last night. I got about halfway through it, and it is called Penalty Box. This is a why choose hockey romance in which we have a female hockey player, and then we have a bunch of men associated with winter sports and hockey specifically. Each of them are very different and add different pieces to the puzzle, and it's getting to the point where I think they're all going to be living in the same house, which I'm totally fine with. So yeah, they've already introduced, there's a polyamorous relationship also in this like area with people who work at where she's now going to work now that she's not doing hockey this year. The whole reason why she's not doing professional hockey this year is because her boyfriend at the time leaked a sex tape of the two of them. And so he got a slap on the wrist and she got basically tossed out of the league. And we all know, like, it's talking about the misogyny and the sexism of sports throughout the book. And it's handling it very, very well. Another thing I love about her heroine is she has a sibling who is non-binary. And they are their protector. They are their, you know, cheerleader and supporter. There's a problem with misgendering on purpose and some things like that. It's not our female heroine that's doing that, but it's other people around them, specifically their mother, does this on purpose, and it's awful. Yeah. Anyways, I don't want to spoil too much about this because it's amazing. Either way, like, I really enjoy the dynamic of all of them. So essentially I got to a point where it's like, okay, so I'm gonna share dinner with a man I slept with, a man I've kissed, and a man I've masturbated to. So that should kind of give you the vibe of this book. And I'm all for it. Like, she feels drawn to each of them for different reasons. And like when the first guy, you know, says out loud, I want to date you, she's very straightforward and honest. You know, she just got out of her really crappy relationship with the crappy ex, and about how she is drawn to these other two men. And he's like, okay, well, let's not rush things. You know, I need you to, like, just be honest with me all around. I'll do the same with you. And the communication is immediately opened very well. Because this is like a roommate's best friend situation, or roommate's brother situation from her college years. And so it's amazing. I really love where it's headed and where it's going. So yes, I'm definitely going to be diving into more of that today. I'm hoping to finish that today if I can. I am working today, so I will be kind of in and out and busy throughout the day, but on my breaks and on my lunch, I've brought my Kindle Scribe with me. So you'll see my Kindle Scribe a lot in this vlog. There are some on audio I might tie in. I'm currently wrapping up an arc on audio right now. But after that, I'm probably going to see what I can get on audio so I can be doing 2 at once for this vlog, because I always like to have an audio, an ebook, and a physical when I can. Physical, I'm kind of burnt out. I've been reading a lot of manga for Manga Love in Summer, as you guys will see. I mean, I love what I've been reading, don't get me wrong, and I have read a lot of digital manga titles and caught up on some things, which is great. It helps my josei stat a lot for the year, because I've not read nearly as much josei just because there isn't as much physical available. So it was really, really fun. I've really been enjoying it. But I wanted to get this vlog started. Penalty Box is amazing so far. I cannot wait to read more. And once I think once I've finished, I'll come back and tell you my final thoughts. But I can tell you right now, it's amazing, period, end of story. And I would recommend it if you like a good hockey romance, because there's a lot of hockey in here. And if you like White Shoes, I would definitely recommend. Because it's going to be really interesting, because one of the guys has never felt like he's his partner's number one pick, and you learn why throughout the course of the first half of the book, and that's the one she slept with, and he can't stop thinking about her, and he wants her to only be his right now. So I'm really interested to see how that's going to work out, because I don't think that's going to last, because she's very drawn to him, and they basically had a one-night stand. They didn't learn each other's names. He called her Petal, she called him Blondie, because, you know, of course he's like the long blonde hair Thor Adonis kind of guy. And yeah, so it's going to be very, very interesting to see where this goes from here, because all of the men have finally like been in the same room with her. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see where it goes from here. And I do love the sibling dynamic between her and her sibling, because they have a beautiful relationship that you can tell they're trying to figure out how to balance being siblings and our heroine being the caretaker as well, because the mom is so awful. So it's going to be very interesting to see how things go, and looks like mom might become a problem later, so having all these men on her side will probably be beneficial. So I'm very, very excited. But yeah, other than that, I think that's everything for now, and I will chat with you guys later once I've read more of Penalty Box. Hi friends, good morning. So we are officially on July 1st now. It's been a couple of days since we chatted. I am once again on my way to work. Yesterday I was very much a potato, so we didn't film anything yesterday. So first up, I did finish Penalty Box. It was amazing. This is a Why Choose Hockey romance, if you're not remembering what this one was about. And I thoroughly enjoyed my time with this. This is one of those wide chooses where it's a slow build. It's going to be multiple books following the same relationship, which is not everybody's cup of tea, but I am really intrigued with where this particular one left off. There are some political things going on in the background that I was not expecting, but thoroughly enjoyed. And yeah, I just had a great time with that particular one. So I would definitely recommend picking up Penalty Box if you are so interested. I do believe this one's also on Kindle Unlimited, so if you missed it for Stuff Your Kindle, you can still read this. So I would definitely recommend checking this one out. I really loved the characters. We have one of the polyamorous relationship here that is still hesitant, but really is trying to make it work. And so they've still kind of been on the outskirts of the relationship. So I'm really interested to see how that all develops in the next book. So it's giving you enough interest in the romance to care about the next book, as well as the overarching political hockey politics stuff going on, which is so, so good. So with that in mind, I did then go on to my next one, which is Claimed. This is the first book in the Brides of the Kindred. So this is one of those aliens come and make a contract with Earth because they don't reproduce females very well. Another series I loved that's built kind of like this was called Bridal Pact. But this one's a little bit different, and some people might not like the setup quite as much as Bridal Pact. Where in Bridal Pact, all the women were volunteers. This one, it's more like a military draft. So all of the women from ages 18 to 35 are eligible for this draft. And you are only drafted once you've already made a connection with one of these kindred warriors. And so it's a telepathic connection, so you dream share for a while before you actually meet in person and enact the contract. And it's basically like a 30-day trial period. So the first week each week is broken down into specific things that the male can do to woo the wife without overwhelming her. So they're not immediately trying to jump into bed with them. So the first week is touching week, where you cannot touch them in any way overly sexual on bare skin. Like if you want to touch their breast, you have to do it over clothes and things like that. But they still discourage that. This is just to kind of form an initial connection with your bride. And of course, all of these men are gone for their women because women are so rare. So they always treat them like gold, to the best of their abilities, and sometimes to their own detriment, which is what our hero does here. But the second week is bathing week. So this is where the males bathe the woman, like wash their hair, wash their bodies, and just pamper and take care of them. And these are all like sacred weeks for these men, for these kindred. But the thing is, in their world, it's more like the equivalent of a year, not a 7-day week. And so it's very interesting to see the women, the females, the human women have to adapt as quickly as they do. And you can see our heroine fighting that because she's got a twin on Earth and all of these other things going on, which I'm pretty sure the second book is about the twin, which I'm all about, like, gimme. And the third week is tasting week, which is obviously the kind of tasting you're thinking. And then the fourth week is the week where they can try to sexually seduce you, where all bets are off, sex is on the table, other than oral sex. And so the way this one develops was very interesting to me because I think all of her reactions to the situation feel like how I would react to the situation. So she's very easy to relate to. And our hero is a tortured and scarred hero. So basically, he starts to dream share with his bride like 2 days before he's actually captured by the enemy that they're there to protect them from, and is tortured for 6 months by these people. But he keeps resisting them because of his dream shares with her. That's like his one light, and he couldn't let it go. And so 3 days after he's out from, all of this and is traumatized still, he calls her up and enacts the contract. And so he just wants to do nothing but be devoted to her and connected to her and thank her for saving him. And she, of course, is like, I don't know you. Why have you been in my head? This is weird. And I don't want to leave my twin. I don't want to leave my career. I don't want to leave my friends and family. And so it's very, very interesting in that regard. And our hero also has a brother. There are 3 different types of kindred. Our kindred hero in the first book is a beast kind, where his brother, they're half brothers. He is more of like a vampire kind. That's not what they call them though. And so they're a little cold, a little heartless, but they have the fangs. And so I'm very interested for his book because he's been spurned by a woman in the past, and so he's vowed to never take a bride, but he's very attached to our heroine in the first book's sister. So considering where book 1 leaves off, I'm pretty sure their book is next, and I'm very excited about that. With that said, that's kind of what I've read the last couple days. I have spun the wheel for my next book, which is How to Rope a Wild Cowboy, I believe is the title. The title's a little cheesy, can't lie there, but I've read the first chapter this morning, and it looks like it's going to be a good and fun time. So I am very excited about that. It's going to be just very interesting. I'm very intrigued by all of this. Stuff Your Kindle is paying off well for me. But then again, I think doing a Stuff Your Kindle now as opposed to when I would have done it even like 2 or 3 years ago, I think I know my reading taste so much better now. I know what I like in a book and I know what I don't like in a book. So it's one of those things where I was much more selective. I didn't just get them all because they were all free like I would have in the past. Granted, I still got a lot. Don't get me wrong here. But I am still very, very excited about where this is going to go and what's going to happen from here. So I'm having the gut feeling that I'm going to just read a lot more off my Kindle over the next month or two because I'm excited about a lot of the ones I picked up. So you probably won't see me reading quite as many physicals. I do have a plan to read a couple this month, not too many. And some of them I can get on audio and do those as my audios. So yeah, I'm very, very just pleased and happy. And yeah, this is fun so far. I'm really liking this vlog. And I'm so excited for my friends. Some of them have started reading now as well. I know someone else read Penalty Box and really enjoyed it, so I'm not the only one. You don't just have to take my word for it. But again, when it comes to my friends who did this with me, everybody's linked down below. And yes, so I am very, very excited. It's Saturday the 1st. I'm headed to work. I need to stop and get some breakfast. And then after I've read some more of How to Rope a Wild Cowboy, I will come back and chat with you about that. But right now, I really like the dynamic. He's very much like the rough and tumble cowboy, and she is the new town doctor. So it's got the small town vibes and the cowboy vibes. Like, I'm here for it. Y'all know those are some tropes I really enjoy, so I'm ready. So with that said, I'll be back. Hello friends, happy 4th. I am home from work and I wanted to kind of catch up with you, talk a little bit about this reading vlog. I feel like it's been a minute. Ooh, hello. There we go. Since we've chatted about it. And so let me pull up my Kindle to make sure I talk about everything correctly. So first things first. I have DNF'd a total of 2 books for this vlog. And then one I opted out of reading. Ooh, hold on. Okay, so one I opted out of reading because it was super long, so I was afraid I wasn't going to have too much for this vlog. So I have completed 3, DNF'd 2, and I'm about to start another one. Because I'm going to go through the end of tomorrow, so I think I can get one more in. So I've read Penalty Box and I've read Claimed, and I believe that's all I've chatted with you about so far. And then I started to talk to you about How to Rope a Wild Cowboy, which is from the Silver Springs Ranch series by Anya Summers. So this one, I just wasn't getting along with the writing at all, really, on this one. This one was mostly like the way it was talking about kink and BDSM kind of elements within the story wasn't quite working for me. As you can tell, it's already starting to get dark. Fireworks may be going off in the background, and I'm very sorry. I'm going to try to make this brief. But yeah. Because of the way that was all being talked about, and I wasn't super invested in the initial setup. It was like a, big city come home to take over grandfather's medical practice in a small town, and the grumpy cowboy comes in, he's injured, doesn't want to deal with that, and yes. So that's that. And then the next one I spun for was Spells of Iron and Bone, which was Tarot Academy #1. This one was just like 500 pages. And I'm like, for this vlog, I want to keep things short so I can read as many as I can. So I decided to skip that one. So I didn't DNF it. I didn't even start it. Then the next one that I read was Traded for Their Pleasure, which is a fantasy barbarian romance. Now, banging is mostly the plot in this one, and I'm not going to say it's not, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. This is from the Coveted Prey series. This is Omegaverse, so it's not going to be for everybody, but man, I had a great time. And essentially, it's this woman. She's from a very abusive, toxic relationship. He is a lazy pile of garbage. And basically, he ends up in debt to these two barbarians. He sells them junk. And so they come to thump him, as what they say is to beat him up, is to kind of take it out on him. And then this douche of a man offers his wife as a trade to these barbarians. But at the same time, they were smitten with her from the get-go. So they decide to play along initially. But then once they're behind closed doors and the ex-husband, well, soon-to-be ex-husband, is away from things, they sit down and have a legitimate conversation with her, just saying, hey, we can't lie. We are both very interested in you physically. We feel drawn to you. We would love to see where this goes and take you home with us and claim you as our mate. We've both wanted to share a mate for a very long time, and because they're cousins, so they don't do anything together. They just wanted to share a mate. They like to play together, but not with each other. They like to share between them, which those scenes were so good. Oh my goodness. And the way this all went down was really good for me, because like once they bring her to the clan, they're like, oh my gosh, you kidnapped her. This is not okay. So like the queen of the clan is like, she's staying with me. And so like she gets to kind of know the clan outside of their purview and them trying to like control all the situations, which was good, I think, because she just came out of a really bad situation. So everything is done very consensually. She is involved every step of the way. And it was just really, really well done. I really enjoyed it. So if you're just looking for a good, quick, fun Omegaverse, like this one worked well. And, they had to train her in a way so that she would fit. So they take their time, they stretch her out, all that kind of stuff. So it's done in a really good way that felt, in a way, realistic, as realistic as an Omegaverse can feel, I guess you could say. And then the next one I started was Her Wild Coast Outlaw. This is a small town age gap military romance. This one, it's more romantic suspense, but it got to a point where one of the points was resolved pretty quickly, and then they were banging, and obviously it's not the whole picture. And it was way too centered on the physical attraction between the two of them. Like anytime they weren't near each other, they were thinking sexually about the other person, not like about their personality or anything else, or like their smile. It was always about their body and all that kind of stuff. And so I didn't love how that felt. So I'm not going to say this one's bad. It just was a not for me kind of situation. So I did DNF this one. So the last one that I have left that I'll probably read for this vlog is called Before She Was Mine. This is Wounded Hearts Book 1. This is one that I actually had bought on my Kindle a couple of years ago. And then it came up for this sale. And so I threw it into the spinner wheel. I'm like, this is what I've been meaning to read anyway, because I go through my Kindle every so often and I just mark as read all the ones I'm not actually interested in reading. And so that's how I kind of handle all of that, so that it's not showing up in my unreads anymore, because my unreads are what I track. So this is one that still appeals to me, and so I'm excited to dive in and read it. But anyways, again, I'm sorry if there was any big like background noises. Like, I know this is not ideal, y'all, but when you have time, you just gotta do it despite the circumstances. So hopefully it didn't pick up too much and that this clip is bearable. Otherwise, I will refilm it tomorrow morning, but I sure hope I don't have to. Anyways, I'm going to get to reading, and I'll come to you guys at the halfway point, unless I'm just really enjoying myself, and then I'll finish it and then come back. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, this has been really interesting and really good. So I'll give you my final wrap-up thoughts, obviously, once I finish. But So far, so good. Okay, friends, so I'm here to wrap up this vlog. So, sadly, the last book was a bust. I ended up getting, let's see, how far did I get? 29% into Before She Was Mine. And I'm saying it's a no for me. There's a little too much flipping back and forth between timelines, and I'm not getting enough details in the present for me to be invested in it. And their past is pretty stereotypical for a second chance brother's best friend style romance, and this hero is a little too self-deprecating towards himself, so this one is just not for me. So sadly, that's another DNF for the project. So it was about half and half for me, and a lot of it's just writing style that I'm not driving with. I did read a bit of it today to make sure, because yesterday I was kind of having a tough day. So I read a bit of it today to make sure it wasn't just because yesterday was rough. But yeah, it is the writing. I'm really not okay with that. So sadly, that was a no-go. But the 3 that I read, I really, really enjoyed. So I am very, very excited to do this again. Hopefully in the next quarter, I'll do it again. But here is the final ranking for the titles that I read. And again, I just wanted to give you some information on these, so if they pop up again, you know which ones to pick up and which ones to skip on. I did pick up some others, and they might be on the list again next time, so we will see what happens. So thanks for watching this video. If you're here just because you love me, leave your favorite pink-colored emoji, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
It's been raining for days now, been running like a child. Can't feel the cold, well I'm lost here with you, lost in the woods. Lost as I should.